Hello, Brave Awakened Ones. QV here. Thank you for joining me on my channel, Higher Realm Holistics. You can visit my website, higherrealmholistics.com, if you're interested in purchasing my books, webinars, merch, Lady V's teas, and spiritual counseling guidance sessions for light workers. Thank you. Namaste.
Good morning, Brave Awakened Ones. QV here. It is the 19th of December, 2020, 6 o'clock in the morning. No rest for the weary, even when you work, even when you're working another job. Wanted to make this video to connect some dots, okay? I know a lot of people are throwing shade at me. I had several comments, oh God, you're so stupid. That NASA story was fake. Obviously, those people did not listen to my entire video and did not connect 1 + 1 = 2 in their freaking little heads what I was saying. So I'm going to clarify. I'm going to clarify with this Lou Dobbs video. He did an interview with Flynn last night, okay? So that I was watching since, I come home from working a 13-hour shift and I don't sleep anyway. So I might as well watch it. And again, with the whole unicorn farts type crowd, not understanding that what happens in the ethereal affects the material, and we're trying to build new Earth here and secure this 5D, upper 4D, 5D grid over Earth, they're not getting it actually includes work, okay? And that you actually have to give a darn what happens here on Earth. Unless you want to float away, feel free, float away. Nobody holding you back. Trust me, nobody's holding you back. So I'm going to connect the dots here with that whole story and the 6 days of darkness and the whole solar activity going on. I was starting to fall asleep after I did a video like at 5 o'clock in the morning. And then again, I was reminded, nope, this time get up, go sit at your computer. You've known this all overnight, through overnight, what's going on with the connection with the solar activity, the solar wind activity, and what is going on with the government. Again, the U.S. must be secured, okay? Because if we fall here in the U.S., the world falls. We're the last standing bastion. Some light workers understand this. The real enlightened ones do. There are the ones who are light workers who are, living off of unicorn farts and rainbows and lollipops and unicorns don't get it. And that's fine. Hopefully they'll wake up too. Like I said, there's two ends of the spectrum. Okay. You could be a light worker, starseed, and be awakened to some things, but not be awakened to many other things. And you could be on the other side, on the child of man side, on the earthian side, as I call it, and be awakened to certain things, and not, you're awakened to what's going on here in 3D, but you're not awakened to what's going on in the ethereal. Both of them are in the same place, straight up. Any which ways. So, real quick, why do I have so much energy? Besides everything going on, dealing with these timelines that are getting denser and denser and denser. And I was on a rather thick, dense timeline. Got home from work around 7 something, fell out of sleep immediately, dealing with a real dense timeline and having to collapse that timeline. It's like getting closer and closer. And what makes the timelines denser are the higher probability of them happening. Okay, that's what makes them denser to me. Again, if you don't resonate, you don't resonate. So it was a denser timeline where it was full blown. Great reset happened. Total takeover of the dark ones. And, smart city central. I was in a smart city, and it was the scream of one of my son's friends that got me into the timeline, because they had their Antifa-tards running around beating people up to shut them up, and he's a computer kid. And then the scream of my son who was living on the floor of the same building. And I had to collapse that timeline because they were at the verge of killing him. Like his face was all bloody. Sorry, boo. I know you're watching my videos, but they were on the verge of killing him and his friend. So I had to collapse that timeline. My whole body was like seizing out. Then I had to run to the bathroom because that always happens. But yeah, did it done. You know, it has to get done. No rest for the weary, like I said, guys. If you're a true light warrior, you pick up that sword and you keep moving forward. You keep pushing it, okay? Because we're at the precipice here. I wanted to say to go back, and I wanted to thank Fenja. I think she's one of my Swedish people out there, or Netherlands. Sorry if I'm messing your name up. She's a Team Veer. She's she rewatched NRV2, which I suggest you guys go watch NRV2. NRV2 and NRV 2.2, 2.5, I mean, Trump, the last American president. Okay, watch that. Starts at the 10-minute mark. Very interesting information about Trump and what's going on right now. Okay, and 2.5 also. And also, it's a good idea to go and rewatch 2019 to 2022. And when I say 2022, I mean the end of 2021 and then January of 2022, the beginning of 2022. That's what I mean. Okay. Very interesting. Was that the one at the 10-minute mark? I'm sorry. I did this while still trying to wake up out of everything. But you could fast forward. I forgot exactly what point. I think it's the halfway point, the 10-minute mark. And I think the NRV2 is the beginning. That's right, the beginning. I'm sorry. Yeah, NRV2 is the beginning. This one, the 2019 to 2022 for the information. So you could skip over all the 2019 stuff. Of course, you could always re-listen to the 2019 stuff. But to get it to present day, go at the 10-minute mark. The changing of the guard. 3D to 5D takeover. I was like, wow. I was listening to it and I was like, ooh, this is so cool. Okay. So re-listen to that. All right. When I start off with the Schumann, we're still having shapes in the Schumann. Okay. This is Schumann for today. Yesterday, as you could see, we're still having shapes going on in the Schumann. Let me try to blow this up for you guys. You could see right here and right here. It's not as defined as before, but you could clearly see the 5D. Clearly, clearly, clearly. And look, you can even go higher. Upper 5D. This is the 5D mark right here. And look, you even see higher. How cool is this? All right. So if you guys don't know what the Schumann is, look it up. Do your research. I've done several videos. Wages World is another great channel to understand the Schumann resonance. It's the heartbeat of the earth. But he actually used my video, explained it a little better, because I was able to compare these readings to what is going on with, since it's the heartbeat of earth and my specialty is cardiology, I was able to compare it to an ECG and talk about the different heart rhythms and compare it to what I see here. It's also very, it also matches up with a EEG also, which is the electrical activity of the brain, how we measure it. So it's rather cool. You can look back at my videos and find that. If you can find it. It's very interesting that you're able to find my NRVs here because I threw them in this playlist. But if you try to just pull it up here under videos, so you people don't think I'm making this stuff up, they got rid of half of my video, more than half. What am I saying? They got rid of more than half of my videos, man. More than half. Boom. Stops right there. 11 months ago. Everything prior to that is gone. Gone, 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 gone. So it is what it is. War ain't pretty. So we are in this final battle. Why are we pushing so hard right now? We're pushing so hard because we could win this final battle and this entire thing will be over with. The light has won. We have pushed the meter. If you understand hermetics, we have pushed that needle, that pendulum swing. We've pushed it to the light. We've pushed it to the positive. And now we could stabilize Earth in the positive. Higher 4D, 5D. Okay, so that's the deal. All right, that's that whole 51% and higher thing. All right, so that is what we're trying to do. We have to push it over. Once you push it over, then you can neutralize and stabilize, because the higher rules the lower. Now, the higher that's been ruling the lower, the 3D, has been negative 4D beings, which reside in the lower 4D and the mid 4D, which is the ethereal realm. That's where they reside. That's where they live. That's where they trap a lot of souls. That's where they do their business, whether they're terrestrial or extraterrestrial. They're 4D, which is why Earth needed to be dropped down to 3D. Okay, this video is going to be a little longer. Hang in there. Trust me, it's all going to make sense in the end, I think. Okay, so enough about that. Check out the work that I did. Again, that's the Schumann. I'm going to close these tabs so I can get it going. Alrighty, now, what we're dealing with right now. I just want you guys to get a good sense of where we are, where we're standing, what is going on in the material, because it is very connected to what's going on in the ethereal, which is where we're working, which is where we've been working, which is where we're going to do a mighty big job, right? On the 20th and the 21st, the big conjunction. Again, I'm going to say for the umpteenth time, if we go down, to please remember that we have to keep doing it. We can't stop. We can't stop, okay? Now, here's this little contentious story right here. I thought it was only put out in 2018 and 2020, but apparently it's been put out several times for the past few years. I think even 2014, somebody said. So they put out this story a lot. Now, what I have been saying, what did I say? NASA, never a straight answer. Do you really think this is being put out without their knowing, without their consent? They're part of the deep state, for goodness sakes. Okay? Now, why is it, I'm going to make the connection, why are they putting this out again? Because it's not only coming out here, and like Breitbart News also ran a story of it. And what was it? It wasn't Newsday. Was it Newsday? Business Times or whatever? One of those business magazines also was running it. Several places was running this. Why are they? Oh yeah, Washington Post was running with it also last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever. Last week. Why? Why is this coming up again? It's coming up again because either the plug is going to be pulled on them, or they're going to pull the plug on their whole cyber operation. Now, what does this have to do with the sun attacking us? With the solar winds. Now, if anybody has been following what's going on, there's a huge thing with solar winds. We're going to get into what solar winds is. It's not just about, again, remember, they double speak, they double talk. Everything has meaning. What does solar winds mean? Now, I figured the whole solar winds thing out days ago, to be honest with you, but I've been working nonstop. And I'm like, it's not that important. And then I kept being pushed and like, no, most light workers, they don't follow this stuff. They don't make the connection. The connection is through you, especially with your team who has to, the preliminary team, we're the first team out in the battlefield to ground in certain energies as they're coming in. If you guys haven't noticed, those who've been doing this with me a while have noticed that. That's why we have to do this on the 20th. And then the other team, the Lightworker Collective, along with some other special teams like the Aborigines Elders, they're going to be doing their thing on the 21st. But our thing is the setup. It's always a setup. I've noticed this. It's the setup since 2019, since I've been guided to start doing this stuff. Sorry, I'm drinking my elderberry tea so I can feel a little strong. Got to keep my energy up, especially working and a trauma center. And yeah, by the way, real quick, cute story before we get going into this darker stuff. Well, to me, it's cute. Yeah, I'm working my butt off. They're doing post-op trauma surgery and everything. But we had a little baby, 2-month-old, who had surgery in her head, right? Her brain. And she she was hydrocephalic and everything, had to have a shunt put in. And if anybody knows about that when babies and children have that issue, they have this high-pitched shrill cry. And everyone was like, oh my God, what number can we call? 911 will not pick up. How do we stop a screaming baby? Like everyone was like, oh, we can't stop her from crying and screaming. And mom was COVID positive, whatever. So they wouldn't let her in, which is terrible, 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 terrible. So I'm like, okay, like, hey, she has experience in peds. So they call me in. So I go into the section where we have the babies. And so, even though, yes, this baby had cranial surgery and had the big scar and everything, most people would be terrified. It's a lot of people like, oh, I'm not going in there. And then we only had that one peds nurse in there, this Filipino dude. He's like, come help me. So I went in. I'm like, woo, yes. I get to play with the babies. So I went in there and I calmed her down. Like, we fed her. She's still screaming. You know the deal. I was like, yeah, hydrocephalic. So I start talking to her. Oh, my heart just fluttered. I start talking to her and I take her little binky and we start talking. And even though I had the mask on, she didn't, of course. She's itty bitty. I'm sure they would love to throw a mask on a freaking infant. So we start talking and then she starts smiling from behind her binky. She starts smiling so bright that the binky fell out and she just kept smiling at me. And then I was like, it's time for you to go to sleep now, little one. So then I put my hand on her head and then, I channeled some healing energy and I envisioned the extra synovial fluid draining down, going down the shunt, draining down her spine to calm her brain down. And then her little eyes started closing. Then she fell asleep just fine. Then they woke her ass up again and started sticking her, unfortunately, about an hour later. And I was stuck with a trauma patient, so I couldn't go, help her, unfortunately. And the nurses got upset and they told the doctors to leave her alone and stop. This is the part of conventional medicine I can't stand. But I was shown also, I can't give out all the information, can't warn the enemy, but I was shown how the medical conventional medicine, fake medicine crap is going to fall. Of course, understand that these doctors and nurses and other medical professionals think they're doing the right thing. Some are nefarious and they know they're doing the damn wrong thing and they're doing it for extra money. Trust me. Many, 3/4 are on that or not good. But a small amount, they're doing it because they think this is the best thing. So all that stuff is going to fall, and they have been set up big time through the whole CV pandemic crap. Let's put it that way. So that they are going to fall. They're not going to be able to keep their doors open, and that is going to allow the different modalities to come in. All right. I can't talk more about that, but that's all I got to say. But yeah, trust me, it's all going to come down in 2021. Any which ways. So what's going on here? Again, with this NASA story, again, they're very well aware. It's part of a whole, dark one, deep state, trying to pull stuff out. But it's way beyond the fear mongering. Understand everything they do is double meaning. It's like the whole dog thing. This is the solar wind, solar storm. And again, if you guys are out there, Team V, you should know enough what's going on with the whole solar wind program. Deep infiltration. Now, here's Lou Dobbs, and he does an interview with General Flynn, and I'll be interrupting back and forth, and this is Fair Use Act. I'm doing commentary, so I have every right to use this news report. All right, so I'll be interrupting back and forth, and I'll cut away with the commercials and all in editing. All right, here we go. Understand what's going on here.
Good evening, everybody. America is now the victim of the most powerful act of espionage in geopolitical history. As we come to you this evening, we now know of at least 15 federal agencies and departments, including the White House, that have been infiltrated for months on end by enemies of the United States. One of those enemies is certainly Russia. It is not only an attack on the American federal government, but a number of state governments as well.
Who'd you see on that list? Unfortunately, every time I stop it, let me see if I can make it bigger. Who do you see on that list? NASA, Department of Treasury, all the big, but NASA, all of these. And trust me, there's a lot more. Financial institutions, I was shown. Credit card institute, all the banks. It's not just these, federal government agencies. A lot of private agencies. How are they infiltrating all of these? With a program, Solarwinds. Wind, R-W-I-N-D, Solar Wind. There's your connection. Here's NASA, one of them. Okay, let's keep going.
And those state governments are currently under attack. We know of at least 3 state governments that are under such an attack. These are the agencies and departments that are under attack as well. As you see there, the Treasury Department, Commerce, the National Institute.
But what did he deal with? Russia, right? It's not to say Russia doesn't have their own deep state. Heck yeah. But we all know they're being used as the scapegoat. It's really China, right? They're the big dogs in all this. But of course, they're going to keep trying to push that narrative. But Flynn's going to come on later and just spill the tea on all this, all right? And it's not months, it's years, and years, which is why that fake story keeps being put out to warn the deep state collective.
Institutes of Health. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure, which is an agency that is supposed to be an intelligence agency in cyber security working within the Department of Homeland Security. Both have been attacked in this espionage. The Department of State, the Department of Defense, the Executive Office of the President, for crying out loud, the Postal Service, Nuclear Security Administration, Los Alamos National Laboratory, other national laboratories as well. But Los Alamos is critically it is the nexus of our nuclear weaponry. The Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, the Office of Secure Transportation, at least 3 states, the Office of Secure Transportation responsible for the secure transportation of nuclear weapons and nuclear power itself. And one of the nation's largest companies, Microsoft, notifying us they've identified at least 40
Speak of the devil.
of their customers that have been targeted in the ongoing cyber attack. Microsoft says that number will rise, quote, substantially. This cyber attack.
What do you think that means? Right? Remember all the crap I've been going through. Stuff disappearing from my computer. Forget it. My tablet completely hacked. Yeah, and by the way, yeah, you guys know I've been locked out of my personal email, locked out of Facebook, locked out of Twitter. My backup Instagram locked out of, and now even my home cable internet AT&T account, I had an email for that. I'm locked out of that too for suspicious activity. Never used that except to get my bill for AT&T. I said, okay, since they're a public utility, let me use that. Nope, they got me there too. So again, they're just giving out part information. Remember that. What he's doing is giving out half information, half truths. That's how they try to get away and hook everybody in. We're going to break this thing down.
Is, of course, astounding. It is alarming, and it is ongoing. And equally disturbing, we still don't know the full extent of what all has been infiltrated, what has been stolen, or for how long, in fact, this attack has been underway, how long the enemy has taken control of systems and files within the federal government in particular, but also Fortune 500 companies and Wall Street. We will talk this evening with the former head of the Defense Intelligence Agency, former National Security Advisor to President Trump, General Michael Flynn. We'll also be joined by former Senior State Department Advisor and cybersecurity expert, Morgan Wright. Now, this massive cyber attack comes as we are gaining a somewhat deeper understanding of the Communist Chinese Party's intentions, its espionage and disinformation and influence campaign in America. Beijing, we do know, has targeted American lawmakers with their spies for years, in some cases for decades.
Okay, so he's finally covering that. We know that this knucklehead right here has been called out for hooking up with some Chinese spies.
In Washington, state capitals, academia, corporate boardrooms across the country. All of that is placing even...
Okay. He shall not be named. Okay, let's talk about Flynn. Let's get to Flynn. Where is that? That's at 53.
It is likely the adversary, not the enemy, the adversary, mind you, has additional initial access vectors and tactics, techniques, and procedures that have not yet been discovered.
These people, they're deep state also, the CISA and CIA, we all know, right? Clowns in America, FBI, they're all infiltrated. That's why they're saying, oh, that's not, watch this entire thing. I'll give you guys the link. That's why they're saying that it's not about, oh, that's not the biggest deal. What's the biggest deal is climate change. That's what they're focusing on, climate change. Interesting. All right, this guy's just talking Russia, Russia, Russia. Let's get to Flynn. Okay. We're going to get to Flynn now.
Being done. Clapper took the time to say that the principal challenge that transcends all others, apparently including this one, is climate change. You wonder why we've had so much trouble from our intelligence.
Yeah, Clapper happens to be the head of the FBI, by the way. You see where they're going with this?
Community with gifted minds like that, working at the as the National Director of Intelligence. Our first guest this evening is the former National Security Advisor to President Trump, former Director of the Defense Intelligence Agency. Joining us now, I am pleased to say, is General Michael Flynn, a great American, and we appreciate your time, General. This attack, your sense of it, how pervasive, what are the dimensions, and how concerned should every American be about our government and our country?
Well, I mean, all of these cyber attacks that have occurred from, in most cases, foreign influencers. Lou, can you still hear me? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, we're having trouble. You're back up here, General.
Yeah.
Apologize for the the technical
what I would say about the Solarwinds is that Solarwinds is an entry point into the rest of our entire U.S. critical infrastructure.
A portal, you could call it, right?
So everything that touches the United States government, if you enter through this Solarwinds attack that we received, you now have access. You basically have keys to the vault, and you're inside of you're inside of our.
He said it, a solar wind attack.
Of our home, and you're able to rummage around and do damn near anything. So it's a very, very serious attack. I would say on one hand, okay, on the other hand, we cannot be distracted because this attack, we now, I believe, we've known about it for about 6 months, the way I understand it. So when we talk about our election security, Lou, I think that this is all part of it because there is a relationship between this Solarwinds attack, which has basically penetrated our entire critical infrastructure, as well as our election security. So we have to look at everything attack that we received. You now have access. You basically have keys to the vault, and you're inside of you're inside of our home, and you're able to rummage around and do damn near anything. So it's a very, very serious attack.
Okay. Honestly, I don't think he's just talking about the government. Again, this Solarwinds backdoor portal that's coming in infiltrates everything. Our homes. That's what Microsoft was warning about. Oh, yeah, by the way, giving out the warning to its customers. By the way, you've been attacked. I honestly think that took effect with Microsoft 10. I think that's when it started. It took me a long time. I would actually get computers, disable Microsoft 10, wipe my computer clean, and put 7 on it. Windows 7. That's what I would do. I so never trust 10 that I would put 7 on my computer. This is the first time I have 7 on my computer, and I have all this antiviral blocking stuff all over it, which is helping this new laptop. You guys remember 2019? I had 4 computers in a week get hacked and go down. Do you guys remember that? And that was the first time I was like, okay, let's see what happens with Microsoft 10. And I knew it. So I paid a bunch of money to get all this other stuff to protect myself.
Say on one hand, okay, on the other hand, we cannot be distracted because this attack, we now, I believe, we've known about it for about 6 months, the way I understand it. So when we talk about our election security, Lou, I think that this is all part of it because there is a relationship between this Solarwinds attack, which has basically penetrated our entire critical infrastructure, as well as our election security. So we have to look at everything that we're doing, and we have to, everybody's got to take a deep breath and back up and say, okay, with all of the egregious behavior that we have seen on our election security, we cannot stand for foreign influence, which we have direct evidence of foreign influence. We also have evidence now from other countries, other foreign partners who have evidence. In fact, they were watching the attacks on our election system, our election process on the 3rd of November, and they are willing to provide that directly to the president. So we now have that evidence, and we received that today. It's very, very important. So there are foreign partners and allies that are willing to help us, but this foreign influence against our election security and
white hats, white hats, white hats. Can you say white hats? So for the past 6 months, from my understanding of it, they've had the white hats on this thing. Well, they've had the white hats on it for a long time, but specifically on what's going on with the Solarwinds and the election. And I honestly think Ron from Code Monkey Z, if you guys don't know who he is, look him up. Ron Code Monkey Z. He used to run up 4chan. He quit 8chan, and he left 8chan, and I put protection around him all the time. I pray for his safety. Safety on you, Ron. Everybody protect Ron. I think he's heading up the white hats. They're the hackers that have been collecting the evidence and giving it to POTUS and team.
And into this Solarwinds system is really, really dangerous, and more has to be done.
Well, let's take this in some order. First, in terms of the breadth and the urgency, the immediate threat is without question this attack on the United States government. And I understand the use of language like infiltration, cybersecurity attack, as if in some way it's not an attack if it's a cyber attack. But the reality is we don't know the damage. We don't know what agencies actually have control of their systems. We don't know what has been compromised. We don't know what to do about, according to and this comes from the agency, some of the agencies themselves. They have no idea how to rid themselves of the malware. There are reports that FBI agents are walking away from their computers because they're beyond repair or remediation.
Now, that segment he just did, what he just said, that paragraph is extremely important to what I think has to do with the 6 days, 3 days of darkness, how many days you want to call it. Okay? Due to a solar attack, a solar wind attack, which is not really an attack. They've known about it. They put it there on purpose. It's part of the whole infiltration. Okay? It's the whole, taking down the U.S. via infiltration. This sort of quiet war, if you want to call it, okay, which is not so quiet. Bloodless war, not that it's bloodless. Behind the scenes, there are many being blown to bits, right? But what he just said, oh, they don't know how to clean it up. From what I'm seeing and from what I've gathered through meditation and foresight, is that they want to pull the plug on everything, bring everything down to try to minimize the damage, their damage, that is, to their side, to being caught out there. Now that it's being put out there, like, hey, we have our white hats, which was clearly said during one of the conferences about the election. The white hats have been working on this, collecting information. Ron Code Monkey Z has been coming out in public. God willing, he's somewhere safe hidden, which he is. I keep seeing that he is. So with that is the connection to that whole article. I feel they have come close to being caught out there, but now this is the real deal. They're really caught out there. All the evidence has been gathered. So they want to pull the plug. That's the way I'm seeing it, because they say, oh, there's no way to repair this. There's no way to clear this virus. That this portal called Solarwind has allowed the infiltration to happen. Okay. And how amazing does it go with what we're going through as light workers? We are these portals to the solar activity, central sun activity. Our sun serves as a portal to these ascension energies that we ground into Earth. Think of Earth as the mainframe computer. And we're the portals. Everything they do, the dark ones do, is an inversion of what we do. They mirror us. Do you not see that? They mirror us. And what do they call their portal? Their fake portal, solar wind. What brings in the ascension energies over here? The solar winds, the CMEs. That's the connection I wanted to make. And they want to pull the plug because now they're caught out there. Okay. Also, with the way Lou Dobbs set it up with General Flynn, there is no way this can go through conventional means, like going through the court system, even the Supreme Court, which has been infiltrated with the dark ones. And that information's coming out with some justices who were caught out there with their loud mouths. That information just came out yesterday and the day before yesterday. So what's going to have to happen? Military tribunals. This is the segue. This is the lead up. This is how they're setting it up to go through the military. The dark ones, they think, it's okay for me to say this. The dark ones think that they're pulling the plug. Oh, pulling the plug, they're going to wipe everything clean. Oh, you don't have any evidence. But how the alliance, how the Trump team can say, oh, now we have to go through the military is because of what I showed in the beginning, what Lou Dobbs showed in the beginning. All those federal, never mind private in the banking system, but all those federal agencies being infiltrated, being allowed to be infiltrated by that solar wind portal allowing that virus in to infiltrate. So therefore, it is an attack on the federal government. It is war. Do you understand? That is how we get to that military tribunal thing. This was always known. People freaking out because, oh my God, that's it. We thought it was going to be the Supreme Court. How? How is it going to be the Supreme Court? It was all a setup, beautiful setup.
Right. So Lou, what we're really talking about is we are in an information war, and probably the principal nemesis is China. Okay, this is an information war that they are masters at it. We believe we're pretty good, and I do believe that we're pretty good. We have certain capabilities to be able to sort of block and tackle in this information warfare domain that we are fighting within. There has to be bigger decisions by the President of the United States. He's going to have to. He should pull in the Director of the National Security Agency. He should pull in the Director of Homeland Security, the Director of Defense, or the Secretary of Defense, and he needs to pull these people in immediately and basically get from them what is it that's happening and what do we need to do? What decisions does he need to make? And it is all related, because this is not something that just happened this past weekend. This has been going on for months. And there are.
It may, by the way, General, we're told that this may have been going on for years at this level, and the damage is not even right now. The United States government can't even estimate the damage or the extent of the infiltration, or what has been taken out, exfiltrated by the enemy. And why don't we call these people the enemies? These are not cyber attackers. This isn't just foreign influence. This is a damn enemy of the United States, is it not?
Right, it absolutely is. I mean, absolutely, Lou. We're not. These are no longer competitors or equals. These are threats to our national security. These are direct threats to our national security. And we're talking about, because we know we have evidence of foreign influence in the election, and that goes in this case too. You're talking countries like China, countries like Iran, countries like North Korea, like Russia. These are adversaries that want to basically dominate with their ideology this country, and we cannot kid ourselves any longer and play games in this world of cyber attacks and act like it's just some video game. This is real stuff. They are stealing our intellectual property. They are stealing our designs. They are stealing the innovation. They're stealing damn near everything from this country, and then they're going to use it against us in some capacity, whether it's in trade, whether it's in diplomacy, or whether it's against us military to military. It's very, very dangerous. The decisions that the president has to make now, as I said, he needs to call these members of his team in, and I believe he's probably done some of that, but there are some that he needs to pull in and say, okay, guys and gals, what is it that we need to do right now? And I need to understand.
Let me say, General, if I may interject, General, let me just say, at 3:30 this afternoon, he was meeting with the head of the Department of Defense, Chris Miller. He has recalled his national security advisor 2 days ago because of the urgency of what is happening, and they have been meeting, as we understand it, throughout the day.
All right, guys. So that was yesterday. Remember, Trump had that big secret meeting in the Oval Office. And this is the setup. He called in his military people. Ding, 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 ding. Okay? So this week and next week, pretty darn huge. And I said that in the video that I did the other day when it comes to that whole 6 days of darkness, 3 days of darkness, whatever. That is put out by the deep state to warn each other exactly what's going on. The solar activity that is going on. And remember, it wasn't just some, whatever, some fake story, that's so rudimentary when people are saying, I'm like, ugh, have you learned nothing? It's not just some, normie oh my God, it's just some silly story going out on purpose, blah, 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 or fear mongering. It's way beyond that. It's way, way beyond that. So again, I'm going to say, shore up, make sure your loved ones are shored up. Whether they understand what's going on or not, you put some stuff away. You know what I'm saying? Over the holidays, prepare yourselves. All right. And I'm going to say it again. Like I said in my video yesterday, we're the light that pierced the darkness. Okay. There's a lot of stuff hiding in the dark, to put it nicely. All right. And this whole military tribunal is going to shine the light. And this also, what is going on, calling this a real war, saying that China and its whoever else, deep staters that have infiltrated our systems through the portal of the Solarwind portal, their solar portal, has declared war on the US. So therefore, engage the military. All right? Engage the martial law. Engage all of it. Okay? So that's what I wanted to say. So I know it was long and winded, and it's going to be kind of choppy because I kept being cut off. And thanks to this person, was it Triumphant News? I wanted to get the whole thing and they didn't have the Lou Dobbs part. So that's why I went on the Fox channel, but I kept getting locked out. But again, this is Fair Use Act, y'all. I'm allowed to use this for commentary. All right, everyone. See you on the higher side. See you Sunday. Much love. Bye. We got this.